Right, long time no see. I haven't vlogged for quite a while. I've been doing a lot of blogging, a lot of writing, but I haven't been vlogging. Now, one of the major problems, I was going to do a few other vlogs to do with poems I'd written, but my camera broke. So I am now using my webcam on my computer, on my laptop, which is probably why this video is not very great quality, but I just couldn't wait kind of with this vlog because it's about my latest release. If you follow my blog, or you've read my blog, or you go on Twitter or my Facebook account, you will know that I've released, finally, A Close Shave of Destiny. Okay, and I have a copy here, a print copy, all 211 pages of it. Okay, the text is quite big, but still, it's a lovely physical book. So if you don't know the story behind this, a few years ago I was doing Movember, so growing a moustache and getting sponsorship for men's health, to help men's health causes, and I started writing a short story that I thought I can stick on Kindle, or I could stick through on an ebook through Smashwords and sell it for 99p, make a little bit of sponsorship for my charity, or for the charity in Movember. 2 years later, it was a 40,000 word novella, so I kind of decided that actually I invested all this time. It's a piece of work in its own right. It's now not just a little charity thing, so I'm going to edit it and I'm going to sell it, and instead of taking the money for Movember, what I'll do is I'll donate a bit. So I've donated a bit of money to Movember to feel like I've covered that, and it's now all ethical, if that makes sense. And I've now released this ebook. It's been out when this is posted. You might be watching it later, but when this is posted, it's been out for about 4 days. Okay, you can get it on Kindle from Amazon. You can get it as a print version from Amazon. If you're in the UK, it's £5 for the print version, about £2 for the Kindle version. I think in America, it's $2.50 or something for the Kindle version. It's about $8 for the print version. Slightly more because there's some other distribution channels in America, so I've had to kind of charge a little bit more for it. Details about where you can get it from, well, obviously you can get it from Amazon, but links to that, and also a link to my blog post about it is down at the bottom of this video. Unless you're watching on my blog, then there's nothing there. Maybe a thank you, but you should be able to see my posts. In fact, I'll put it on there on the blog as well. Actually, that would be logical, wouldn't it? Okay, so what I want to do for you now is I want to read you a little bit out of this. You know that I like to read out of my books. So I'm going to read you a little section. Now, on my blog, I've already put a bit, the first section. Okay, so rather than just read you that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the next section. So it's like a vlog exclusive. Ooh. No, it's not very exciting, is it? The other thing to say about it, if you want to buy it, Kindle Unlimited, it's free on Kindle Unlimited. So if you've got Kindle Unlimited, you might as well just download it and read it. Send me in a review. Even if it's 1 star, I'd rather have a review. Okay, I'd rather you read it than you haven't. So I'm going to go to page 12, and we are going to move on to the next bit of the story. Okay, so what's happened so far is that Melstone, the village elder, has talked about there being a prophecy that says that a deep snow that smells quite sweet is going to set into the world, and then blades are going to come down and scour the land. Obviously that's a shave because it's set in a moustache. You'll notice a lot of things in this book are related to the face and moustaches and shaving and things like that. So they've done that. They've packed the stuff. Have Wignot, our hero, and his over-enthusiastic aide Barnabas. And the next section is they're leaving the village. Now, obviously, Wignot annoys a lot of people, so this is his section where he's leaving the village. Okay, so Wignot did not expect a big send-off, but some respect would have been nice. Instead of people cheering him on and giving him motivational comments like, "You can do this, go get them," or "You'll be back soon," he was greeted with a crowd of scowling individuals. Maybe he should have considered his comments last night before blurting them out. He understood the village hierarchy and the traditions of his people, but sometimes he thought he was the only one with 2 brain cells. It was one thing to understand where you came from and try to keep the ways of your people alive, but another to have blind faith. Wignot would do this, though. He always did. He knew his duty. In a few months he would pull the "I told you so" face to the chief and get a hokey explanation about how his bravery had meant God had spared them. If this God was so devoted to them, why did he not just spare them before Wignot had to go on a 2-week quest facing horrible monsters and deadly situations? The chief came up to them. Wignot thought there might be some boring, rousing speech telling those gathered about how important their mission was, but that God would be with them and their bravery would be rewarded. Luckily for him, Dactyr only said, "Good luck," and gave them half-hearted handshakes. At least offending your whole village was not all bad. As Wignot and his trusty assistant walked through the crowd, they gave pathetic waves which were met by more scowls. "Don't worry," Wignot thought. "I'm only off to save your little lives. Don't bother with a decent send-off. Except I'm not really saving your lives because nothing is going to happen. It is just the ramblings of an old man who was only chosen because he said God spoke to him, and we all accepted that, even though we had no proof. And instead of locking him away like the madman he is, we have a go at anyone who questions him." Sir, came a voice. Wignot shook off his thought. "Yes, Barnabas? Shouldn't we be heading east?" Wignot noticed that they were well outside the village, and that they had been wandering aimlessly for some time. "Oh, yeah." They turned left and carried on their journey. They had been walking for a few hours, and it was all starting to bore Wignot. Tree after tree covered the land, densely packed together, blocking out vital light and making the surroundings seem dull. They had hardly met a creature, but there was some delight in that. They were yet to bump into the ground mites, deadly beasts who sucked hard at the dirt at their feet. They hoovered up everything and everyone, but the joy was short-lived. Wignot stuck a hand out to stop Barnabas. "Can you hear that?" As they listened intently, the only sound was their breath, heavy under the exertions of the day so far. Then it came, from far off in the north. They would have recognised that scuttling noise anywhere. They had met the ground mites before, on their quest to gather the Lord's plate. That had been an interesting mission. The plate had been found, but was jagged and broken. They took it back to the village anyway, and Melston told them that it was the greatest discovery ever. He had looked at the slightly translucent shard and felt the rough swirls that adorned the surface. He had told everyone it would bring peace and prosperity. The plate now resided on the altar of the shrine to the one true God. People visited it every day, but Wignot had noted that nothing changed from that day. As far as he was concerned, it was just another piece of rubbish used to keep everyone in line. On that occasion they had only seen the mites from a distance, managing to bypass them by moving swiftly from tree to tree. They hoped it would be the same this time. Wignot put his finger to his mouth to make sure Barnabas knew to be silent. He lowered his hand, palm facing down, subtly telling Barnabas to move off slowly. Quietly, the two adventurers edged away. They sneaked past 2 trees, stopping at both to check what was happening in the direction of the sound. By the 3rd tree, it had died away. "That was close," said Wignot. A screech shattered the silence. What is that shriek? Well, if you want to find out more, you can buy the book. Okay. If you want to kind of know what's happened before that, okay, which is, I think, quite a funny bit before that. It's probably funnier than that section I've just read you. Then obviously if you look on the blog post, that's got that first bit. If you're really enjoying all that, have a buy of it. If you've got Kindle Unlimited, like I say, it's free. You might as well take a pop. Yeah, and if there's anyone out there who feels like, you know what, I would like to review it, or I'd like to do a guest blog post about it or something like that, just contact me. Okay, you can private message me here. You can do it on Facebook, on Twitter. You can leave me a comment. You can send me a tweet. You can do all of that sort of stuff. But yeah, hopefully you'll read it. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. And even if you don't, leave a 1-star review. Tell me how terrible it is. I'd rather you had a look at it than you just went and bypassed it. So there it is. A Close Shave with Destiny.